The rapid growth of information and communication technologies, or ICTs for short, have profoundly impacted the ways that people live, work, and play today. Digital technologies like the internet and mobile phones lay the foundation for what many are calling the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Yet restrictions on movement and physical contact caused by the COVID-19 pandemic have highlighted both the capabilities and the limitations of ICTs to create positive outcomes for everyone. Even in places where ICT access appears to be high, there are still many individuals and communities at risk of being left behind. The country of Kuwait, located in the northeast corner of the Arabian Peninsula, holds a privileged position in terms of its ICT environment. It is among the world's most digitally connected nations on several measures, with big plans for society's digital transformation as part of the Vision 2035 strategy to diversify its economy and improve the quality of life for residents. But until now, little is known about how these country-level conditions impact its diverse communities in different ways. The From Digital Skills to Tangible Outcomes project is the first independent assessment of digital inequalities in Kuwait. It is the outcome of a research collaboration between faculty from the Gulf University for Science and Technology and the London School of Economics and Political Science. With support by a grant from the LSE's Middle East Center, the project aims to establish a baseline understanding of digital inequalities in the country, which can benefit policymakers, businesses, researchers, educators, and others interested in the social impacts of today's ever-changing digital technologies. The DiSTO Global Project studies the complex relationships between social and digital inequalities in countries around the world. It is based on the idea that offline and online forms of inequality amplify one another. There are systemic, structural, and historical processes that influence how various resources are distributed across any society. In the digital realm, these societal-level conditions interact with a host of individual-level factors, such as people's levels of access, their motives, and their uses of ICTs, as well as the kinds of tangible outcomes that they can achieve. This is why it's important to look at multiple ICT-related factors like access, skills, uses, and outcomes across a diverse range of communities in order to better gauge the nature of digital inequalities within a given society. Doing so allows both internal and external comparisons that can help societies to plan solutions that support more effective and equitable forms of digital transformation. As a first step toward this goal in Kuwait, the DiSTO Kuwait 2022 Digital Inequalities Report is based on findings from a national survey of over 700 adults conducted between October 2020 and January 2021. The report includes findings at both the country and the community levels to highlight important achievements and remaining inequalities. In order to benefit from ICTs, it is first necessary to have access to these. By regional and even world standards, residents in Kuwait enjoy generally high levels of access to the internet and smartphone devices. And for many residents, the potential financial, psychological, and social barriers that could otherwise hinder access do not appear to significantly weaken people's hearty appetites for ICTs in multiple facets of their lives. Nevertheless, important differences in access do still exist according to people's personal circumstances, with sizable at-risk communities facing several limitations, such as access only through their smartphones. While access to the internet is important, it's the skills that somebody holds that will determine what kind of uses and outcomes they can achieve. In terms of digital skills, there are several groups in this study who demonstrate very high skill levels in multiple areas, especially with regard to socializing online. But stark differences do exist according to age specifically. For example, people under 25 report twice the overall skill levels of those age 40 or above. Now, for communities with pre-existing advantages, higher skills can regularly translate into more frequent uses and outcomes. But for those who have limited skills, such as older populations, as well as homemakers and the least educated, innovative and tailored ICT skills training is needed in order to minimize these existing gaps. The highest area of both uses and outcomes are found in the personal domain, where leisure activities such as playing games and listening to music or watching videos clearly dominate. Notably, Kuwait does not evidence a stark gender divide in the digital realm that's often found in many Arab countries. In fact, in important areas of access, motive, skills, and achievements, women often demonstrate higher performance than men. But despite these advantages, gaps between ICT uses and their accompanying outcomes are often disproportionately concentrated among women and expatriates alike. Efforts to encourage their broad-based involvement in the planning and design of ICT services, platforms, and content will contribute toward greater employment equity, digital accessibility, and higher satisfaction amongst these groups. Regulators, educators, private and third sector organizations can each contribute to Kuwait's digital transformation by recognizing and addressing existing inequalities. They can do this by monitoring, educating, and including both citizens and non-citizens alike. As the full report details, several communities in Kuwait still face obstacles with ICT access, skills, and the achievement of tangible outcomes. Many of these are Arab or Asian expatriates with rudimentary levels of education. Importantly, however, these groups simultaneously comprise a bulk of Kuwait's residents. So creating policies and practices that help improve their digital experiences will foster greater equity. It will engender higher participation, and it will contribute to society-wide benefits in terms of both productivity and well-being. Doing so will also help Kuwait to more effectively transition society from a foundation currently built upon tankers to one that is more accessible through tablets.